Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dragon Ball figure news video. I apologize that this video is coming out so late. Unfortunately, the internet went out at my house, so I have not had internet for a little bit, but finally it is back up. So we are here for another bi-weekly recap of everything that has dropped for Dragon Ball figures. As per usual, don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. And we are starting off from the last Dragon Ball figure news big boy video, which would be, I forgot YouTube does this now, we're on the homepage, it doesn't just show you this type of thing. Here would be the last time that we did one, which would be the 5th. So definitely check out the videos that I've released since then, and don't worry, we'll talk about Trunks as well today, because we have some interesting things to discuss about the boy. But before that, we did obviously talk about this last week, the Figuarts Super Saiyan Goku Effects Part 2. I don't know if we talked about the fact that it was available for pre-order yet, but I just figured I would include this in this video as well. Obviously, this is the effects pack that is going to be having all of these different aura effects, which look really, really cool. This awesome base, right? It's also going to come with this extra head sculpt for the full power Super Saiyan Goku, right? As well as these Kamehameha beam effects. This is 35 bucks, which I think is a good price for this, right? A lot of the time when they do these kind of like general release items, right? Like the general release figures are usually 35 bucks. So I honestly think this is a pretty good one with, you know, a super nice stand, right? Obviously these different aura effects and the beam. I could definitely see, you know, somebody who would make these be charging just this for, you know, the items individually. So definitely a good cop if you are interested in some cool display options for your SH Figuarts figures. This is a very interesting one. So apparently Big Bad Toy Store put up a pre-order for the NYCC 2023 exclusive Goku. If you guys remember, I talked about this for a figure news video a while ago, right? Which is really, really weird that they decided to put this guy up yet again. Let's actually go to the Big Bad Toy Store and see if it's up. I don't think that it is at the moment. But it's very weird that they would put that up because obviously it's an older figure, but I guess it's probably just because they either got some more or, you know, whatever the case may be. Yeah, I don't even see it available like if you just search for it. So definitely keep your eye on the website if you are interested in this figure, because obviously, you know, this thing is definitely pretty hard to find at this point. This is the one with the clear hair as well. Of course, rip to the GOAT, Akira Toriyama. The Jump calendar figure release for March, right here. Of course, released this month, or well, I guess we're not all the way done with the month yet, but of course, released in this month. We have the BOS Vegito, of course, we've taken a look at this guy a couple times. Nappa, which I'm actually very excited to get my hands on this figure. The Solid Edgeworks Kid Buu, the History Box Gohan, the SH Figuarts Proud Namekian re-release, right? This was a figure that was released a little while ago, but they gave him a reissue, which is pretty cool. I do want to get this guy, but man, I feel like he's just so expensive being at 70 bucks. He does come with quite a bit of accessories, right? And obviously he does come with the cape and everything, right? You know, the like severed arm piece, but I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit too expensive for me personally. As well, we also had the Gashapon Art Collection 2 come out in Japan, which is actually pretty cool. Because I do have for you right here, I guess we'll just pop it open at the moment, the HD image of this, because I feel like we've seen this a bunch of times, but we never had a good image of it. So this is pretty cool, the little things that you can get, the little art pieces here, right? Obviously, they have the Goodbye Goku, they have Gotenks there, Goku on the bike, we have Gohan and Cell there. I can't tell what that one is, but I think that's Goku in the plane. Obviously, the one next to Cell and Gohan is Trunks and Bulma in the flying car. We have Goku and the Z Fighters behind him, right? Majin Buu, and then, of course, the thank you one. So this is a little 400 yen thing that you can play in Japan, and then you can get this little mini art thing. So I don't know if we will be able to get this in the States. Sometimes they do bring Gashapon stuff over here, and sometimes you can find Gashapon machines in certain places. So take a look around. I'm sure if you really wanted this sort of thing, you could probably find it online, though. All right, so moving on from that then, there was no figure stuff in the 11th issue of the Dragon Ball Weekly News, unfortunately. So this was one thing that I did just want to throw in here, right? I know I've talked about a bunch that, hey, keep an eye on your websites for sales, right? Obviously here, this is a bunch of pre-orders. Can we go to sale? I guess we could probably go to low to high. There is a bunch of figures on Big Bad Toy Store that are on sale, as you can see, right? Like 26 bucks for Pan, 30 for Goku, 32 for Gohan, right? There is a bunch of figures that you can get for a very, very good price. This one is crazy. 35 bucks for Tao, considering he's a $50 figure when he dropped, right? Some of these prices are really, really good for the sales. So if you are interested in any of these stuff, again, definitely keep your eyes out just to see if you can find any good sales. Some of this stuff hasn't gone on sale yet. Like, this is a pretty new Ichiban Kuji, but I'm willing to bet that maybe a little bit more down the line, it might end up going on sale, considering some of this stuff, right, obviously has been sitting on the site for a while, so they're putting it up for sale. Also, check Amazon too, because I know I saw the Gammas for like 30 bucks the other day, which is a great price for the both of those figures. Hello, Trunks. We're going to talk about you next. Don't worry, you crash in the party, you. So, SH Figure Arts GT Trunks, there is a video that I already did about this guy, as you can see right here, talking about the shenanigans with this figure. However, oh boy. So, it may only be getting worse, to be honest with you, because I was talking about how, basically with this figure, right? Can I not click on the images? There we go. When it comes to it, right, he looks pretty good, right? I think Trunks looks good for the most part. A couple of the faceplates do look a little bit strange to me, like this one, the gritting teeth one, but maybe it is just the angle. I think the smiling one looks fine. It definitely depends on the angle of some of these, because like this looks really weird from this angle, right? He looks so devious. But this figure is obviously, oh geez, that voice crack was terrible, is obviously the next figure in the GT set of figures, right? Of course, coming along with GT Goku and Pan. And we talked about how in the last video that it was really kind of unfortunate that what they're doing for this figure is they're including GT Goku's tail into the Trunks pack, obviously with a Build-A-Figure type thing, right? They did this with Gohan as well, the superhero Gohan, where they had all of the different parts for the figure like spread out between a bunch of different things. It was really interesting reading some of your guys' comments on this, by the way, because I did read the comments from that Trunks video, and it was pretty divided, to be honest. Some people were like, yeah, it's not really a big deal for me because I'm going to be getting all three of the GT trio figures anyway, right? So it doesn't really matter for me, or, you know, I'm going to be getting all of the SHF GT figures, so, you know, it's not really that big of a deal. But then there are also some people who are definitely more so agreeing with some of the things I was saying in the video as to like, oh, you know, this is a pretty stinky business practice or sort of unsurprising for Bandai. You know, obviously if you just want GT Goku, right, then it's really unfortunate because obviously you would have to get a whole nother figure. And this is only made worse by the fact that this is now a premium Bandai exclusive. That's right. You can only get this guy from premium Bandai, right? Which I do believe, if I am not mistaken, I think that GT Goku is also a premium Bandai exclusive. I don't know if he was, because I swear that I've seen him. Yeah, no, he wasn't, because he's on the Tamashii Nations store. Let me double check. I did not want to lead you guys astray by saying that he was a premium Bandai exclusive, so I double checked, and he is up on Amazon and here on Big Bad Toy Store. Obviously, Big Bad Toy Store still has premium Bandai exclusives, what they always jack up the price, but he was on Amazon. Obviously, I can't show you Amazon because, you know, then I'll be literally doxing my address. But that honestly makes this so much worse. The fact that this guy, weirdly enough, right, is not a premium Bandai exclusive. I would want this guy to be a general release, right? Do not get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying, that this guy is an L for being a general release, because any figure being on premium Bandai is always a bad thing, right? Doesn't matter the circumstance in terms of exclusivity, right? Obviously, having these other figures that they have available, right, on Premium Bandai just to, like, purchase is not a bad thing, obviously, right? Like the ones that are not exclusive to the website. You know, that's fine. I'm talking about the fact you can only buy it here. That makes it so much worse, because that means if you buy this figure from over the counter, right? If you buy this at your local retailer, or, you know, just like a shop that sells it, or, you know, sometimes obviously even like Target and Walmart carries SH Figuarts figures, right? If you buy it from one of those and you're like, man, I really want the tail for my GT Goku, if you have no idea about Premium Bandai, or, you know, just in general, right, you usually aren't getting figures from here, then you are literally never going to get this tail piece. To be fair, in the box, right, most of the time with SH Figuarts figures nowadays, they do come with a little piece of paper that has a little promotional thing for Premium Bandai, so maybe you check out the website and then see it. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of consumers are probably just throwing out that piece of paper anyway, right? Because a lot of the time when you get a product, you're not even reading the instructions half the time anyway, right? You're just kind of tossing it out. So honestly, again, for more of my full thoughts on this, definitely go watch that other video. But I think the fact that this guy is a Premium Bandai exclusive and Goku is not makes this so much worse. What really should have been the case is that Trunks should have also just been a general release and not a Premium Bandai exclusive, right? Which is so silly. Why would you come out with a trio of figures for GT Goku, GT Trunks, and GT Pan and make two of them exclusive, and then make one of them over the counter? Ironically enough, they kind of did that with, you know, the Super Saiyan Goku, the, you know, buff legendary Super Saiyan Goku, right? And Full Power Frieza was a Premium Bandai exclusive, but obviously that's a little bit different. But regardless, though, still very, very silly. Now, obviously, we have the $65 price tag, which, I mean, unfortunately, they don't have, like, the fun production images for Trunks here, because usually it takes them a while to get that uploaded. But in terms of what it comes with, obviously we have the main body, exchangeable hand, left and right, 3 types, right? Exchangeable expression parts, 3 types, right? So obviously that doesn't include what comes on the figure default. So realistically, you'll have 4 different sets of hands and 4 different faces, right? But obviously 2 of those things come on the figure. Exchangeable folded arms parts, that's pretty cool. Exchangeable thigh parts, and the bonus part, the tail for use with the Goku, right? So that is pretty cool, that obviously they did give him the folded arms. I really like when figures do this. It's just a cool accessory, and I think it looks really good. As well, obviously, the exchangeable thigh parts is really interesting, because obviously the figure normally does not have those pockets, right? Because obviously the whole gimmick with this Trunks is that you can put the hand in the pocket. So it'll be interesting to see how that actually functions. Now, I will say $65 seems like quite a bit for this figure, if I'm being honest with you, right? Obviously, whenever they put figures on Premium Bandai, they're always more expensive than a normal figure, no matter what the case is, not even taking into account, you know, shipping and all that other stuff, right? But every time they put a figure on Premium Bandai, it is never a good price. It is always higher than it should be. And frankly, considering what this guy comes with, I do not think $65 is a good price for this figure. I think it's way too high, to be 100% honest with you. Because realistically, right, a normal figure would come with the main figure and then 2 to 3 sets of faces or hands, right? Like that's the Super Saiyan Vegeta that came out semi-recently, right? That guy came with that. And obviously the extra parts that Trunks comes with is the folded arm, the thigh parts, and then the tail for Goku. I don't think that justifies a whole nother $35 on top of what would be a general release. I would think that that would be maybe more like $45 would maybe be a better price, maybe $50 if we're pushing it a little bit. And not to mention, again, like I always say when it comes to Premium Bandai, right, you're always paying that $10 shipping fee no matter what, right? Unless you are shipping this with other items that come out at the same time, right? Premium Bandai, for individual items that have a pre-order and then they, you know, ship at a certain time, it's always $10 shipping, and not to mention you still have tax on top of that. So this guy could end up being $85 depending on how much tax that you have to pay for this guy. So absolutely ridiculous, honestly. Definitely think he should have been priced a little better, but that is it for the boy GT Trunks. Again, for more of my thoughts on the whole thing with the tail, definitely go check out that previous video. Now, with all of that being said, I believe the last thing we have to take a look at, we will look at this later in the video with the Ichiban Kuji Dragon history. I am going to pull that up, though, just because I'd like to talk about that a little bit later in the video. And nothing else up here, right? Again, with that Temple in the Clouds Ichiban Kuji. I think we'll talk about that later in the video as well, so I'm going to just pull that up for when we get to that part. The last thing we have on dbzfigures.com here, though, is, right, for this episode of the weekly Dragon Ball figure news, Dragon Ball Weekly News, rather. We did have a episode where they talked about GT Trunks, and they actually brought on one of the SH Figure Arts producers, and they did actually show off Trunks IRL, basically, like right in front of him. As you can see here, you can kind of get a good idea for his size. Obviously it's edited a little bit, so you know it's kind of hard to you know, not just have this part be on screen. But yeah, there he is with like a little bit of a size comparison next to Goku. That's a pretty good stand. And I do believe, yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. They do bring out Pan to show you kind of like a size comparison between her and Trunks. So both of these figures do look very good. I think I will say, you know, again, aesthetically, right, I think that they absolutely knocked it out of the park with the GT designs for these figures, for sure. I think they did a very good job. It'll be interesting to see when Pan comes out, if she is also a premium Bandai exclusive. I don't think they say anything about that in this video, unfortunately. Yeah, Pan doesn't seem to come with Giru, which is really interesting. So we'll see, right? Maybe they just didn't show it off, but we'll have to see when they put Pan up for pre-order, right? Literally, like for GT Trunks, it was quite literally just bam, he's going up for pre-order in a couple days. So it could realistically be any time now. Obviously, GT Goku came out a couple months ago, so I'd say it's pretty, you know, like safe to say it might not be a couple months until Pan goes out for pre-order, but obviously we will have to see when the time comes. Now, let's go ahead and move on to our other figure news. I know we have a ton of tabs pulled up here, but don't worry, a lot of these are really, really quick. So first of all, Trunks, I did want to put this tweet in here. He is going to be made in Vietnam, which is interesting because the SH Figure Arts figures are usually made in China. So it'll be interesting to see if the quality control is on a similar level. I do believe we have had some SH Figure Arts figures already made in Vietnam, and I think they turned out fine, so it'll just be interesting to see. By the way, I apologize if we'll get to it in a second, and I'll talk about it. If any of these pages I have to do this for, because for some reason it literally won't let me switch to my other Twitter account, because I usually look at this on my other account, on the Epic Mewtwo one. So apologies if we have to do that later in the video. But anyway, History Box Gohan came out. Just wanted to show you a couple images of him. He definitely turned out pretty good, although again, he is very, very small. You can see there, right, in comparison to the size of the box, there's a better image for you in a second in terms of the size comparison. Yeah, look at this. This is the size of a regular Bam Presto figure box, if you're familiar, and this is the size of Gohan. This figure is tiny. It's a bit of a shame because this guy actually looks really good, and honestly, I would probably pick this guy up if he was a little bit bigger, because the unfortunate thing is, right, let's take a look here. Here he is next to Vegito, right, which is a little bit more of a average sized figure, right? This guy is such a small fry. It's just really a shame because I know for me personally, right, like I like my figures to be around this Bam Presto-ish kind of size, right? Obviously every figure is a little bit different when it comes to prize figures because of course they're not like in scale with each other or anything. But I think the problem is the price, right? Like this definitely isn't a you know, like a bad figure by any means, and if you like figures at this size, that's completely fine. I mean, I don't even really mind the size. I think the problem is the price for the size, right? Because this guy costs the same price as Vegito, right? The current retail for prize figures, which is $26.99, right? That is the price for both of these guys. So I feel like if they made this like $15, right, maybe even like $17, $20, right, maybe pushing a little bit at $20, but you get the point, right? Obviously if they had these guys a little bit more fair price, I think the History Box line would fare a little bit better. But as it stands with how big it is, I think it's just the price that really prevents me from jumping in and getting some of these figures, because I like a lot of them. They actually do look really cool, and I do like the like diorama thing that they got going on. All right, so this was the one thing that we did indeed include in the last video, right? Talking about the Above the Clouds Ichiban Kuji, the fact that this is actually the prize D, right? And I wanted to note this because I don't know if we talked about it in more detail, which is really interesting. Apparently, it's a new sub-brand called Master Live Collection, right? Obviously, we've had a bunch of Master Live, Master Lease, Master Lies, however you pronounce the individual versions of those, right? And obviously a couple of different variations of each. When it comes down to it, right, everything with Master L something that follows, right, is usually the different things that we get for this. Now, it's really interesting, obviously, because this is a new thing called Master Live Collection, so it will be interesting to see what they do with this going forward, right? Does this mean that we'll get more items for figures that are a little bit more in Ichiban Kuji scale, right? Does that mean that this will be, you know, like a reoccurring thing? Will we get a full Ichiban Kuji of these items, right? Only time will tell. Probably unlikely on that last one, but we'll have to see, right? So it'll be interesting. Here is the BOS Goku, and I just wanted to share with you that he is going to release in week 3 of June in Japan from the 10th to the 14th. I'm very excited about this figure. For Gohan, the Clear Eyes Gohan piece, he is also going to be releasing in week 3 of June, so that same little time frame, which is pretty cool. The Ginyu Force, unfortunately, bro, this is so funny. It was doing this to me the other day. Was this translation accurate? What translation, Google? No, you're not showing me a translation, bro. Let me see. Can I do this and it will show up on the screen? Awesome, yeah. So here is all of the weeks that these guys are going to be releasing for the Ginyu Force. If you need to pause, feel free, because obviously this is a lot of information on the screen and it's very jumbled up, but there you go. That is the scheduled release dates for the Ginyu Force. I definitely want to pick these guys up. I might try and wait until they're on a little bit more of a sale, though. UI Goku is going to be releasing April week 2 in Japan. I definitely really like this figure. I might actually end up picking up this guy, even though I already have a bunch of MUI Gokus, but man, that is a solid figure right there. Goku and Cooler are going to release in July in week 3 in Japan, so that is pretty cool. And then Gohan versus Cell to release in Japan week 1 of July, which is really cool. This is awesome, honestly, like having them re-release Gohan and then put him at the same time as Cell. I think that's a fantastic idea, and not only is it a great way to just get people to buy more figures, but man, it's just good marketing. So props to you, Bandai, on that one for sure. Oh, I guess I have the same tweet twice there. Sorry about that. Tien is going to be releasing week 2 of July. Also very excited for this figure. I love this production image. It's so good. Okay, so this right here is the last one figure for the Over the Clouds Ichiban Kuji. Obviously, in the last video, I included the little Shinron statue, but we did not have the announcement for the last one prize. By the way, I don't know why this one translated, but the Ginyu Force didn't. Thanks, Twitter. Regardless, though, yeah, as you can see, this is going to be Piccolo Daimao in his chair. Now, I will say, this is a really cool figure, and I think it is a good choice, obviously, for this era of Dragon Ball. And not to mention, I think the only figure we had of this was the Arise one, which is like, you know, we always talk about those being like the hype beast sort of figures, right? That are like super expensive. I think that's the only recent release of this, unless I'm forgetting something. You can definitely let me know in the comments on that one. Feel free to correct me there. But this will be the last one prize. And while this is a very nice figure, and I definitely think, excuse me, I will pick this up because I'm actually in the middle of watching Dragon Ball for the first time. I know, beating the fraud allegations as we speak. Right, obviously OG Dragon Ball. I've been really enjoying it a lot. I'm currently on the Tien fight in the World Tournament, or the Tien Saga, I guess, for the 22nd World Tournament. This is really weird that it's not Mr. Popo, right? Because obviously a lot of people were anticipating, oh, well, you know, if they're going to do an Ichiban Kuji where it is the, you know, like, Temple in the Clouds, right? Or Above the Clouds, right? Whatever it's called. That they would probably do, you know, Mr. Popo, because obviously, why would you not do Mr. Popo? Because, you know, he literally lives on Kami's lookout with Kami. So why would you not pick him for the last one prize? So, I don't know. It's very weird that they didn't pick him. I know there's a lot of discussion in the figure collecting community right now as to the reasoning why he might be not in this Ichiban Kuji, right? Whether they're either saving him for something else or if it has to do with you know, some of the like censorship that Mr. Popo has experienced over the years, or right, some other reason. We really don't know. But regardless, though, as unfortunate as it is that it's not Mr. Popo, this is definitely a very good looking figure. So I am actually pretty excited to get this guy. I have young Piccolo Daimao, so it'll be cool to get old Piccolo Daimao and have both of those kind of forms represented. Here's some upcoming factory confirmations. Obviously, all these guys will be made in China, and for Vietnam, it will be the Goku Effects Pack, and I'm assuming this is a re-release of Goku for the Legendary Super Saiyan Goku, right? So that's pretty cool. We have some final photos for the April Ichiban Kuji, right? I believe this is on the actual Ichiban Kuji website, right? Obviously, the Angel Goku, I'm sure that this figure is probably going to go crazy, especially after the passing of Akira Toriyama. Unfortunately, the website is so dumb because it auto-scrolls through the images. It doesn't let you just, like, stop and look at it. What if I, like, hold it? Nope. Okay, well, I guess it's just kind of going to do us like that. Regardless, though, this figure turned out really good. I'm definitely going to try and get my hands on that guy for sure. Cell also turned out really, really good, right? Trunks, as we kind of saw, he looks all right in my opinion. It's nothing crazy. I wish the expression was a little bit different besides that little bit of like the weird teeth. I think Future Gohan also turned out pretty good, but something about his hair, right, on the back that I feel like looks a little bit weird, but maybe it's just usually like that. I think the scarring is really well done, though, for Future Gohan. Vegeta looks really good in my opinion. This one might be my favorite figure out of the whole thing, honestly. I just wish that the Trunks was matching up with him doing the same pose. Maybe they'll release that in a future Kuji. Porkule looks pretty good, although we did see that one final where his eye did look kind of weird, so maybe that will be a little bit of a QC issue that is consistent with other figures. This is pretty cool, by the way. They obviously do clear acrylic stands for a lot of this most of the time, but these look like little rubber versions of these, which is awesome. A little bit more high quality. You have these little cups here with a bunch of different Cell stuff on it, which is pretty cool. Obviously, you have these little art pieces, right, which also look pretty cool, and then you have these as well. Some pretty good choices, obviously, for some Cell Saga stuff. All right, Gogeta, right? Obviously, we did talk about him a little bit last time, but I did just want to show you these full images real quick. These do look really, really good, and it does kind of seem like they tried to mimic that art style, right, of the art from the movie pretty well, right? Obviously, the eye pose is not the same, so it's a little bit different, but like in terms of the general shape, right, it seems like they pretty much tried to get it done. So I definitely got to get this guy and Vegito, because I think displaying them together would look really, really good. Here was Nappa. Obviously, he released this month, so very, very cool to see my boy, right? Definitely looking really, really good. I don't know, was the attack colored blue? I do not remember in the scene that this came from, right? Because it's been such a long time since I've seen it. It kind of looks like he's spitting water, to be honest. Maybe they could have chose a different color, but I think the sculpt on Nappa is fantastic, right? I have absolutely no complaints on the sculpt for him. Of course, it's done by Varroque Varquo. Still don't know how to pronounce his name, and he still follows me on Twitter for some reason. Thank you, my goat. But yeah, looks fantastic if I do say so myself. Here are the ratios for this upcoming Ichiban Kuji. Obviously, it will be 3 for Goku, 2 for Kami, 2 for Yajirobe, 1 for the Dragon, unfortunately, and then obviously, of course, 1 for the last one, prize 1. This was also kind of interesting. So prize B, Kami, will be 27 centimeters. Prize C will be 17. And the Masteralized Plus will be at 26. Some of the July heights confirmed, right? Obviously, we just took that good height. So interestingly enough, even though this is so big, because obviously we'll have the chair, apparently Kami's going to be just a tad taller than that, so that'll be interesting to see when that actually comes out. And then we have some multi-angles. I'm not going to spend too much time on these, but obviously we'll scroll through them just so that you can see everything. They did a good job sculpting the staff. I really like the way that the staff is sculpted. Also, they did a good job getting like this separated part of Kami's outfit here, I think. Looks pretty good. Yajirobe, right? Obviously here looking very, very good. Right? I still think his eyes look a little bit weird, but I think that is how they're supposed to be. I think it's just that I'm not used to it after seeing it for so long. Shinron looks really good. It's going to be really interesting to see how the like actual glass is sculpted, right? Oh, it comes apart? Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how like the top part is going to work for this figure. I'm going to be really interested to see. I wonder if it just sits in there. It kind of looks like it doesn't actually plug in and it just sits there on the shelf. It's really interesting that they decided to show that like in pieces, because obviously that's how you build it. Really interesting. Oh, the back of the chair. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they did that, because a lot of the time with the backs of these figures, they really do not cook nowadays for Bandai, so that's good to see. Yeah, he looks really good, obviously, for old Piccolo Daimao. Very, very nice. Okay, so here's the European prices for these figures. Obviously, I'll also show you the US prices as well. But since Baggy made a tweet about this, I figured I would throw this in here for the European audience. There are the prices for these figures for the Ichiban Show version of these guys. Yeah, it seems pretty expensive to me. Obviously, I'm not as familiar with the conversion rate to USD from euros, I believe. Excuse me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, that definitely looks pretty expensive to me, unfortunately. We did have some images, by the way, of the Android 18. I apologize. I thought that the next thing was the US Ichiban Kuji prices, but I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. Scheduled to release in May, the 3rd week, the 13th to the 17th. Baggy forgot to post this one. Obviously, we took a look at that figure before. History Box Majin Vegeta, he also forgot to post this. This will be April, the 4th week from the 22nd to the 26th. Of course, we've also looked at this guy in a past video. Oh yeah, and this was also something else interesting that I wanted to note in here. This could potentially be the last History Box release if the order numbers are as bad as this month's Gohan, which is crazy, by the way, because obviously Gohan has been popping off ever since Superhero came out in terms of order numbers for stuff. I think it's honestly just like I was saying before, because the History Box line is so small, and I'm assuming a lot of collectors probably just don't find it worth it, considering that it costs that much for the size that it does. You know, I would think that that's probably definitely a contributing factor to as to why that is. Okay, so let's talk about the prices, and then we have some more multi-angles for these figures. So very, very interesting, right? Definitely kind of random as to the prices of these guys. So, first of all, once again, they have not listed the LO, the last one prize. The name of it escaped me for a second, I apologize. For some reason, they have not listed it, so I'm assuming that we're probably not getting it again, which is so weird because, again, recently they've released it a couple times, and then sometimes they just don't for the last one prize for overseas. I don't really understand why. It's so weird to me. But Goku is going to be $49.99 with Korin, right? Kami's going to be $64.99. Yajirobe is going to be $44.99, and the Shinron, right, is going to be $47.99. I gotta be honest, I think these are really overpriced, unfortunately, especially Kami. Even though he is going to be a little bit of a bigger figure, right, I still think that these are pretty overpriced in my eyes, right? Obviously, it's not surprising, all things considered, because, of course, you know, recently if the prices have not been that great for Ichiban Show. I think the only one that might be worth it, honestly, would be Goku and Korin, because realistically, if you want to, like, do a little bit of those mental gymnastics, right? Goku and Korin are like 25 bucks a pop, and you're getting both of them in the one box. So, you know, I guess if you want to justify it that way, I think that that is probably worth it, right? That might actually be the only figure that I get from this particular set, just considering the price. And maybe I wait for some of this other stuff to go on sale somewhere. But yeah, I just think personally for, you know, the size of these and the price, and obviously considering how the prices used to be, it's definitely a little bit too expensive. And not to mention, right, like, him being big for Kami, right, is one thing for him being a little bit more expensive, but For the dragon to be almost the same price as 2 figures just seems kind of ridiculous, not to mention Yajirobe, you know, only being like $5 short of Goku and Korin just seems a little bit silly for then one figure that's going to be, you know, around the same size as Goku, I would think. So, yeah, kind of weird on the prices. Very, very unfortunate on that front, to be honest with you. And a real shame that we're not going to be apparently getting the LO either. Here's some multi-angles of Goku and Korin, though. This was what I wanted to see, because obviously we had that sort of like, you know, back angle on Goku there. So I wanted to see how he looked from the front. And he also does look pretty good from the front, too. It is a little bit weird from this angle, obviously, because, of course, you're supposed to kind of view him like this, and it is a 3D object, right? Being transferred from 2D to 3D. Sometimes these things do look a little bit weird like this, but I think it still looks really good regardless, right? And obviously, I assume you're going to be more so displaying him from the back anyway. And this angle does look pretty good too, though. But I like that they actually did do some sculpt work on the front, since this is weirdly enough a figure that you will be looking at the back more often than not. And here are some multi-angles of Korin, also looking fantastic. I don't think I have any complaints about Korin, right? He looks really, really good. I know people were talking about this seam line that runs down the middle of him, but I swear maybe that's not on his design. I don't know. It kind of makes me almost think he's more like a plushie, which is kind of funny, right? I don't know if that's there. I don't think that's there on his actual design, is it? I haven't looked at Korin in a while, so you can let me know in the comment section on that one. It doesn't really bother me, though, because I feel like it just kind of adds to, like, Korin looking like a, you know, plush toy sort of aesthetic. But anyhow, he looks really, really good. This might be the one figure from this set that I actually do get, because I think that that is probably worth it. Yeah, very, very weird. Yeah, as you can see, right? Seems like they pick random Kujis for an Ichiban show for Europe, and both Europe and US have some random prices, with the former being very, very, yeah, I forget how to pronounce this word, but, oh, extortionate. There we go. Thanks, brain. But now Europe gets the LO, right, twice, and the US doesn't. Very, very weird. Like, the reasoning is just so nonsensical, it seems. I don't know. Not sure why they do it. Alright, so this was what I really wanted to talk about in this video. We do still have a couple more things to cover, and some more prize figures for the month, actually, before we get to the end of this. But this is the August Ichiban Kuji. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Dragon history. Let me actually show you the full image here on the dbzfigures.com website. We'll take a look at all these, actually, I guess right now. I thought that they had this image more in HD, but Baggy has it. We're about to look at it in a moment anyway. So this is a really cool Ichiban Kuji, right? Obviously, the fact that they are doing these dioramas first and foremost, right? They're calling this, is that supposed to be relivable moment? Revivable moment? I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. But it is very interesting that they announced this right now, because this really does kind of feel like an ode to Toriyama sort of kind of set, right, for August. Obviously, they plan figures so far in advance, right, that of course it is seemingly just a coincidence. But I think in that regard, right, it's weird to say that it's kind of cool that this is, you know, the next one that was announced, but, you know, I think it's kind of a good way to honor the man, right, from the figure side of things. So we have prize A, which is obviously Goku and Piccolo during the World Tournament, which is awesome. The sculpt on this looks so fantastic, if I do say so myself. We have prize B, which is going to be Kaioken, Goku, and Vegeta. Obviously, Goku smacking Vegeta. I already had plenty of Kaioken Goku figures, and I was already kind of like, yeah, I'm probably not going to get any more. But by golly, this is awesome. This is so good looking. I'm definitely going to have to get this. The sculpt on all these looks fantastic. I'm going to be really curious to see how the base looks for this one, because obviously, you know, for the base for prize A, it's just the rocks, right, with them standing on it. But for prize B, it's going to be interesting to see how these figures stand. Are they going to be, you know, like individual stands? Is it going to be actually like the rocks for the base, right? It was the area they were fighting, the wasteland. Is it going to be like one just like black base or clear base? It'll be interesting to see how that one looks. We have price C, which is awesome. Goku biting Frieza's tail. This is such a fantastic pick, and obviously the very cool little diorama on the background, or on the bottom rather, obviously being like the ground of Planet Namek. So that one is also pretty cool. Goku's teeth are crazy sculpted there. And for the last one prize, we have this moment from Dragon Ball when Goku and Bulma are in the water, which is pretty cool as well. Definitely some fantastic choices for some, you know, like big moments throughout the series. I think that's really cool. Obviously, this is a lot of early, you know, earlier in the story type of things, right? You obviously have like very early Dragon Ball, right, with this one. And then, of course, you have the end of Dragon Ball with this one. And then you have the beginning of Z with this one, right? And then obviously still a little bit into the beginning of Z, right? With the Frieza saga, right? Before obviously the middle-ish, which would be like the Cell saga. So that is really, really cool. I'm actually really excited for this set. I'm not gonna lie. I actually really, really like this, and I like the sort of like theme that they're going for here with these different diorama sort of things. I think that this is really, really cool. Obviously, these are not up for pre-order yet, but I will let you know when they are. I'm praying that the prices are good on these because, man, these look so cool, if I do say so myself. I really hope that they do more diorama stuff like this, because honestly, I really, really like these, and I love this sort of diorama thing that they have going on. I feel like they used to do this a lot more back in the day for Ichiban Kuji figures. When I go back and look at some of the older figures, I swear I see a lot of stuff like this, but then when it comes to stuff in the modern day, I don't see it as frequently. So it's really cool to see them do stuff like this. I'm definitely going to be copping all of these if they are at a fair price. And honestly, if these are bigger and they have these diorama aspects to them, not to mention having two characters sculpted in there, I feel like these would be worth paying a little bit more for. Now, Bandai, don't take my words and charge extra for these when I say that, but you know, I think like paying upwards of that $50 mark for these, you know, again, depending on the size, would be a little bit more worth it considering what you're getting in the package. So very, very cool. I am very excited for more details to come out about this one. Very, very good set to release. Honestly, probably a set that I'm like one of the most excited for out of everything that we're getting this year. So very, very cool. This was something that I did just want to keep in mind, or have you also keep in mind. It's going to be very interesting to see later this year. Obviously, July, right, is around the time when the US will be getting this Ichiban Kuji as an Ichiban show, right? This is the one that is coming out in April for Japan. Apparently, a USSKU exists, so it's got to be releasing somewhere, and I expect it might be a store exclusive. Basically, that means like, you know, a code, I believe, like a code to be sold, you know, at some retailer. So obviously, we know that this guy is not being sold with, you know, the normal websites that sell Ichiban Kuji figures, so it'll be interesting to see if he does end up being a store exclusive somewhere. I will definitely look around to see if I can find this guy, because I know I really, really want this figure. Hydrate or dihydrate, baby. All right, let's go ahead. Oh yeah, so this is the more HD image of this, which is really, really cool. I actually love this so much, dude. This is awesome. This is such a cool concept, right? And obviously Baggy talks about here that OP emotional stories, by the way, is this. Funny enough, I'm actually reading One Piece right now, and I just recently finished Arlong Park. This is a very funny that I'm seeing this figure right in front of my eyes here. But as you can see, right, OP emotional stories and Dragon history might end up being a yearly thing, which would be awesome if they do this, because this is a fantastic idea. And they've kind of played around with doing some different diorama things, right? They've kind of done it in some Gashapon figures recently. I know they did it with the Figurize Zero, or Figuarts Zero, excuse me, Goku, and also Janemba to an extent, right? Which, funny enough, I have that figure. I need to open that bad boy up for a video on the channel. But I definitely really like this concept, and I think this is fantastic for Ichiban Kuji. I really hope that they do more stuff like this, because this is awesome, right? Obviously, they have also done some different things where it's like one particular like matchup of characters, right? They've done where it's like versus and then also characters working together in different lines. So I think that this is almost like the epitome of that. Like this is that like hitting the peak almost, because obviously by doing it this way, they're able to have some more like, you know, diorama-esque effects on the figure rather than just having two figures that are in the proper pose that they're in, you know, in that scene next to each other. So definitely very cool. I'm hoping to see some more awesome stuff for this. There is literally so many things that they could do from this, right? Like I can't even begin to, you know, imagine the possibilities, because literally like almost any iconic scene could be captured this way. So definitely hope that they do more of that in the future. Now, before we end the video, we still have quite a bit more, but we did finally get the August high quality production images, right? Starting us off with the Gogeta and Broly, right? Obviously, these guys are the Matchmakers figures that we have been talking about for, I think, like a couple months now since they came out on the calendar. These look awesome. By the way, I apologize if you can hear this little sound. That's my water bottle. Again, hydrate or dihydrate, baby. These guys look fantastic, if I do say so myself. I actually really like the look of these figures. I think they look fantastic. I love the sculpt on both of them. I think the expression on them looks great. The only thing for me is that definitely I have some Broly figures that are in quite a similar pose to this. And also, funny enough, coming from the same side, which is really weird. Like, I have a shelf above my closet, which is like Dragon Ball Super Broly themed. And all the Broly figures are facing the same way that this Broly is. And all the Goku and Vegetas and Gogeta are facing the same way that Gogeta is here, with, like, you know, the chest on that side and then the character looking towards the right, whereas Broly would be looking towards the left. If you were displaying them like that. Very interesting, but I think these figures look fantastic as well. Oh my gosh, dude, I have to get this. Look at this cheeky son of a gun right here. Holy cow, bro. We have the solid Edgeworks Android 17. I've been looking for a really good solid Edgeworks. I've been looking for a good solid figure of Android 17 for quite some time now. And I know that there is that old Band Press the World Figure Coliseum one. Ironically enough, though, I'm not the biggest fan of that one sculpt, even though I think it might be Varroque's work. I think that might be the only Varroque figure that I'm not a fan of. I don't remember, though. You can tell me in the comments if you remember. But dang, this guy looks good. And if they have an Android 18 to pair with this guy, which I'm assuming probably they will, because it only makes sense for that to be the case, this might just be my go-to 17 and 18 figures, because this guy looks good, especially if he ends up looking like that. And for BOS, yo, we got the boy Trunks looking very good, if I do say so myself. I think the coloring on this guy is really interesting, because it almost looks a little bit like washed out, right? Like, it kind of doesn't look like gold for the hair. It looks a little bit more of that mustard color. And I swear the purple is like a very, like, almost like lavender, which is really interesting. I think they all look pretty good, though, in terms of the sculpt, for sure. And this was something interesting, by the way. It seems like they went with the Dragon Ball Super Broly. I think these are the HD art. Well, I mean, not HD arts, because, I mean, it's just on the DVD box. But I'm pretty sure this is the like art that's on the DVD for Japan, right? I think that's what this is. Regardless, though, this is the art that the Broly and the Gogeta were based off of. So that's pretty cool, honestly. Definitely a good choice for that. And they did the same angle, too. So that is pretty cool, if I do say so myself. Also, yeah, definitely very good on the sculpt compared to Trunks from the actual, like, manga panel here, right? Definitely looks really good. Obviously, the coloring's not the same because they went with the anime colors rather than the manga colors, but holy cow, that hair sculpt is, like, perfect. There's like nothing wrong that I can see. Obviously it has these like little lines kind of throughout the figure version of it, but that's just kind of how this sculptor sculpts the hair. So yeah, like the overall shape, masterpiece. Frankly, they did such a good job with that. Looks really good. Here is, by the way, what the 17 is based off of is apparently based off of this cover of the Kaizenban, I believe is how you pronounce that. It's the specific type of art on this cover of the Dragon Ball manga. Obviously, there's a bunch of different releases of the Dragon Ball manga over the years, and there is this version that has a bunch of the volumes, I believe, packed into one, if I remember that correctly. And this is like the style of the art on the cover. So that is really, really cool that they're basing it off of this. I do wonder if that means that we will actually be getting a Android 18 in this pose as well, and an Android 16 in this pose. That would be awesome, and then you could display it with the book. Oh, that would be a gas setup, I'm not gonna lie. That would be sick. So hopefully we do get that. I also wouldn't mind if the Android 18 was something just like walking next to 17, looking back at him, kind of like how 17's looking like that. But I would also be definitely okay with the fact that obviously, you know, if it looked like just the way that they're posed on this cover too. That is really, really cool. And I agree with the boy Steve here. They have really improved this line over time. I remember in the beginning, we were really like, dang, Solid Edgeworks is so stinky, bro. You remember that first walking forward Goku, the Vegeta that we all disliked, Vegito? We're not even going to talk about that disgusting figure. This line over time, I think, has really, really improved. So it's awesome to see that they actually rose from the ashes. They had a true underdog story, bro. You actually love to see it. But very, very cool reference there. By the way, yeah, again, talking about these sales and whatnot, I saw this the other day, 27 bucks on a Big Bad Toy Store for my Inshu. If you don't have this figure, I highly recommend picking it up. It's great if you love OG Dragon Ball, and a fantastic price for these guys. Again, keep an eye out for those salespeople. Anyhow, this was the merch scans for Dragon Ball stuff from this most recent V-Jump. This was interesting to see, by the way. Gummy art too. We have some HD images of a bunch of different stuff. This is obviously like these little like rubber things. I really like, obviously a bunch of this is like Dragon Ball art, but I really like the Vegito and Buhan one and the 17 and 18 one. That's really cool. Definitely some very nice stuff there. And obviously they also did talk about Trunks in the V-Jump, right? This was also some interesting pieces of merch that I figured I'd just throw in here real quick. We have some clear acrylic stands of the Father-Son Kamehameha, Vegito, and Broly, as well as a Castle Corp and Red Ribbon Army Cup, as well as some really cool shirts. Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan Goku, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, and of course they had to release this one right now. I might actually have to pick this one up, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure what this is. I know that this is, I think this is the symbol that's on Yamcha's back in early Dragon Ball. I'm not sure what this says. Someone in the comments could let me know. And obviously that other, oh, I guess it's just the same Majin Vegeta shirt. But yeah, this is up on Ami if you do want to pick up that. Alright, so in terms of some of the final stuff that we have for the figures, we have some multi-angles for the prize figures for the next month, right? Broly versus Gogeta, this is awesome, right? I definitely really, really like the angles that they captured this on, especially for this one, right? This looks so cool, dude. Oh my gosh. We have the multi-angles for Gogeta himself, right? Very, very cool. The unfortunate thing is this guy is going to be a little bit small, as you can see at the 12 centimeter mark. That is definitely a pretty small figure. But overall, the sculpt still looks really, really good. It's going to be interesting to see this guy once he actually releases. And then, of course, Broly is going to be 19 centimeters. And again, dang, that sculpt is really, really good. They cooked on that. Ba's ear is also sculpted fantastic. Yeah, absolutely no complaints for me on the sculpt of these figures. I think they look fantastic. Here is Trunks. I really, really like that special production image. Yeah, unfortunate that he is kind of small, obviously being 17 centimeters, but I think the figure is sculpted pretty well, right? It is kind of a little bit more of a basic sculpt, like especially looking at the pants, there isn't too much detail, but I think overall it looks good. I like this angle actually quite a bit too. And then, of course, we have the boy Android 17. Dude, look at my boy strutting. Awesome. Really, really hope this figure doesn't lean. That's the only thing, right? A lot of the time when they do these figures that they have like this walking gimmick, right, with obviously Solid Edgeworks, sometimes they have a little bit of lean to them, so I hope that that ends up not being the case for my boy. But yeah, he looks fantastic. I'm definitely picking up this figure, bro. It is so good. Oh my gosh. Here's some special production images for him too. Yeah, just a really good looking figure for sure. And moving on from Android 17, we have some more stuff for Broly, right? Last couple of things here before we end it off. Obviously, we already took a look at that. And basically to end off the video here, just a little bit of a PSA that unfortunately it's going to be a little over 5 weeks until we get the September production images. So enjoy the August stuff for the time being. Yeah, obviously with the fact that we now have the August figures, right, that being all 4 of these guys, right, obviously we're going to have to wait. Dude, my brain just went crazy there. We're going to have to wait for the September images, obviously, for quite a long time, right? And obviously we know that we're going to be getting some funny GT stuff from that, so that will be interesting to see when we get that. But definitely look forward to those images, and I believe that is everything. Let me just double check. Oh yeah, Baggy posted this Toriyama figure. It looks really, really good. Third-party resin figure, I believe. But yeah, so with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what was your favorite figure from everything that we covered in today's video. I am very, very excited for everything that we talked about, honestly. I think there were tons of great figures this time. And by golly, dude, holy cow, I cannot wait for that Dragon Ball set with all of the different dioramas. I think that this might be one of the most popular Ichiban Kujis of all time, especially considering when it got announced, right? Oh man, I think that they absolutely cooked here. So I'm very, very excited for this. Definitely let me know what you think in the comment section below. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.